Everybody. This is Rob Commodari. I'm with EXP Realty, as you know, and I've been asked to do this little podcast here for you all. I'm excited to do this first time ever for you guys. I've been in EXP for about 6 months now. I moved over from Keller Williams. I've been doing that here. I'm also an author. If you see in the background, that's like a poster, a picture somebody made for me hanging my office wall here. I'm author of a book, Better Than You Think, that I published about a year and a half ago. And I recently began a podcast called Chiseled. And why do I call it Chiseled? Because we're all a work in progress. So it's been a fun ride. It's definitely stepped outside of my comfort zone. And what I've learned over the last, call it 3, 4, 5 years, about having the right mindset, committing and being present in the moment to what you're focused on, and where that will take you. So let me start. I'm going to start out real quick and share you a little bit of the journey with the book. So, and this is going to lead into one of the stories I want to share with you today, and having the right mindset and being present. So back in 2001, I wrote a goal that I was going to write a book. 2005, I wrote one chapter, put it down, didn't think I was good enough, smart enough for anybody who's going to read my stuff. Then in 2009, I wrote a chapter, same feelings. 2014, I wrote 2 more chapters, same feelings, I put it down. So I'm part of a mastermind group, and it was 4 of us at one time. Now it's 3, and we get together every Friday, pretty much live in person. Sometimes we do the Zoom, and sometimes we'll go to a restaurant and do something. But we get together and we spend 2 hours every other Friday from 6:30 to 8:30 or 6:45 to 8:45, and we talk about our business and we talk about life. And we are celebrating our 10th year this year. But about 4 years ago, actually it's 5 years ago, we were at our end of year. We do an end of year get together, end of year celebration, but a retreat if you want to call it. And what we do is we go over the year review. We talk about gratitude. We talk about our wins. We talk about our losses. We talk about aha moments and what we're going to do going forward the next year. So it was the end of 2016, and it was 4 of us at the time, and we're sitting at the dining room table at a place in Deep Creek, Maryland, up in the mountains. And it was my turn to go through the losses. And as I just started off to go through the losses, I said, as you guys know, I haven't written the book yet. And before I finished the statement, one of my buddies across the table says, Rob, you're either lying to us or you're full of crap. And I was like, whoa. I was like, how can one of my buddies call me out like that? And that followed up with the guy next to him. I'm looking at him like, come on, help me out here, buddy. And he goes, Rob, he's right. You've been telling us for 4 years to write a book. You haven't written a book yet. And then I looked at the third guy, and I'm like, Mark, help me out. And he just shrugged his shoulder and goes, what do you want me to say? So I committed to writing a book. Long story short, from January 1st to the end of June, I committed to writing, getting up 4 a.m. every morning, focused, being present in the moment of what I was doing. And it took those first, whatever you call 14 years to get the 4 chapters. But from January 1st of 2017 to June 23rd, I got up every morning at 4 a.m. And from 4 a.m. to 5 a.m., I would write. And I would start at 4 and I would stop at 5. But I'm going to go a little deep here, and might not be your cup of tea, but I'm a pretty spiritual person. But I would get up every morning. I would look at I got a big whiteboard here in my home office, and I would look at the board, and I wrote a bunch of chapter titles and write a bunch of stories went under those titles. And I would look at the stories of my life, and I'm like, okay, Holy Spirit, what am I going to write about today? And I would just pray about it for a minute, and bang, something would come to me, and I'd write. So anyway, write the book. That's been great. Been doing some speaking in and around the book. And then recently, I about 3 months ago, I started this Chiseled podcast. And chiseled because we're all work in progress. And we are constantly a work in progress. And what was happening one day, I was meditating and praying. I just had this thought. I had this vision of a half chiseled statue, like we're chiseled away in ourselves, and we're getting better and better every day. And do I want that? And how can I share that with others? So again, I felt led to do that, and I decided to do it. So now I got the book and I got Chiseled. And what I want to share with you right now is what happened over the last week. It was just a phenomenal experience. It's been an awesome blessing for me. So I brought the mastermind group up because this is our 10th year, and our goal was to have a 10-year celebration. So what we planned to do was we flew to Vegas, and we were going to start out the trip being in Vegas, watching the Ravens and Raiders play. So going to the new stadium, watching the Ravens and Raiders play, celebrate that. The next day, we were going to spend 4 hours or drive 4 or 5 hours from Vegas to the Grand Canyon. And then on Wednesday, we were to hike the Grand Canyon. So it was like a 15-mile hike. And then Thursday, I was coming home. They were staying to go to Sedona, but I was coming home because my son was participating in an Ironman triathlon this past weekend. So let me reset the table. We go to Vegas, go to the game. We drive onto the Grand Canyon. On the way to the Grand Canyon, we stop by Hoover Dam. Now, I don't know if you've ever been there or not, but the Hoover Dam it's a masterpiece. But it was a work of art that was created. It's man-made, so it was just beautiful to be present in the moment and just reflect on the enormity of what's there, even though it's man-made, but what that Hoover Dam represents. So we stop by there, and then we go into the Grand Canyon. Now, on the way to the Grand Canyon from Vegas, you're driving on desert road, and we as realtors, I think for the most part, we work hard, we do the right things, we can live a pretty good life. But when you're driving down that road for 4 hours in desert highway, along the way, I kid you not, you might see little huts, little houses, shacks, and then they might be separated by acres and acres of land before you see the next one. And you think about it, how good do you got it? How good do you have it? How good do I have it? I'm like, I don't know how these people do it, but they live and they survive. And it made me be in the right mindset of like, where am I in that moment? What am I present to? And what's going on in and around me? But just to be aware of that and think about other people and how they live and how they survive and make it. So we drove the 4 hours. We get to the Grand Canyon. We get to the Grand Canyon. It's almost sunset. Me, my two friends, we're breaking out our cameras. We're taking pictures. And again, if you've never seen the Grand Canyon, it's just a majestic piece of art, if you will, that was God made, if you will. And it's an incredible place to be. I've never been there. I've seen pictures of it. And the enormity of it all, it's like 223 miles around. So we were just in one part of it. We're at the South Rim. And we're all looking around and we start taking pictures. But at one point, I closed my eyes and you could I'm like, God, let me be present in this moment. And I'm like, close my eyes and you could hear, and I'll use it this way, you could hear the spirit of the canyon. You could hear the breeze blow. You could hear the silence. You could hear God, it's hard to put in words. You could hear all the good stuff going on, in this nature place in this moment. And so I just took a moment, did that. So here's where things really start to go crazy. One of my friends, he's sitting there and he wants me to take a picture of him. So I got my phone in my hand, I put it in my pocket, and he asked me to take a picture of him with his phone. So as I put my phone in the pocket, it drops and it breaks. So I'm at the Grand Canyon, never been there. I'm at this glorious place of nature, just in awe of what I'm looking at, and I can't use my phone. I can't make any calls. I can't get into my phone. I think it's called the digitizer wasn't working well. Can't get into my phone. I can't see text. The only way I can talk to anybody is if somebody called me and I got my Bluetooth piece in my ear and I see the call coming, I answer it that way. So I'm like, all right, God, I can't believe you're doing this to me. It's your place. I'm in nature. I'm in like your presence, and you won't let me have my phone. And then I thought about it. Maybe he doesn't want me to have my phone. And so I had to sit there and I'm like, okay, if this is what he truly wants, Rob, be present to where you are. And so I tried to reset my phone. I couldn't even do that. So this is, long story short, the phone was broke. So I was disappointed in one breath, but I was excited in another breath. I was excited in the fact that maybe he is calling me to be present. It's time for me to be present in his moment. So the next morning we got up and we hiked 15 miles, and I didn't have a phone to use, and all I could do was just be in the moment, be present in his moment. And we walked the trail, it's called Plateau Point. And so you walk down 7.5 miles and you get to this place and you stand and you look around, you do a 360 tour and you just take it all in, and it's an amazing experience. And at that point I was like, I'm thankful and grateful that I did not have my phone. Even though I want to catch those moments on the camera, but you're looking through the camera, but when you're not looking through the camera and you're in the moment, and you can experience it in a different way. And it was a total spiritual experience for me to do that and to be present. And so we hiked back up 7.5 miles, and we stopped every now and then. And when you look back, you see the enormity of this wall of mountains that you have to go back up, and it's going to take you, a couple hours. So you get up there, and then you're like, oh my God, I just hiked the Grand Canyon. And you get quiet, you close your eyes, and you think about what you just did and what you just saw. So that was the experience there. And we had a moment where my friend, he goes, what was your experience? And I couldn't talk. I couldn't discuss it because I just felt like I just experienced this amazing moment where there was a reason why my phone wasn't working and being present. So then we leave the Grand Canyon, go home, get up next morning, and I fly home to Baltimore because my son was participating in an Ironman triathlon. And still didn't have my phone, but it was Thursday night. I get home Friday. We get him down there. Friday night, I go to T-Mobile, and they transfer my service from the phone that broke to an old phone I kept, and I'm like, I might as well get that done. So anyway, I still don't have a really operating phone to do with the things I want to do. So I still got to be present. So my son the next morning is participating in this Ironman triathlon. Now, what I want to share with you is if you've never been part of a triathlon, or whether you participated or saw it as a spectator, it is another amazing experience. And if you're in the moment, you experience the spirit of the moment when you see 2,500 people competing in an event against themselves. And you could say against the clock. So in an Ironman triathlon, or maybe it's even a marathon, whatever, you're not out there. Some people might want to win the race or have the fastest time, but it's you against you, baby. It's you against you. So if you're not familiar with it, Ironman triathlon is a 2.4 mile swim, a 112 mile bike ride, followed by a 26.2 mile run. Now, in the morning, they swam at the Chop Tank River in Cambridge, Maryland, which was, if I can add this to it, loaded with jellyfish. I saw pictures of the water from above, and everywhere you saw was jellyfish. They were saying if you're swimming and you feel grass, it's the tentacles of the jellyfish. So they had to swim 2.4 miles in a jellyfish-infested river. Then they and it was overcast, so it was okay then, and they get out to do the bike, and it was overcast early on. So halfway through the bike, the sun comes out, it's hot, and it's humid. So when you get stung by these jellyfish, you can experience nausea, stomach pain, vomiting, maybe even faint. So it depends when all that, if it takes effect on your, or affects you in any way, a negative form like that. So what happens is my son crushes the swim, he crushes the bike, and he's on his way to the run. Now, when you're out there, you see it from a parental perspective, watching your son, but you only see your kid every so often, and there's hundreds and hundreds of other people participating, and everybody is cheering everybody on. Everybody's in the moment, and everybody's present to what's going on. And when you see it from a spectator perspective, and you understand what they're going through and what they've done to get there, it gives you a bigger appreciation, a better appreciation for that. So in that moment, my son's crushed the swim, crushed the bike, now he's off to the run, and his run's supposed to be his strongest phase of the race for him. So he's about 7 miles in, and I see him, and he's, Dad, I'm not feeling well. He goes, I'm having trouble drinking and eating anything. And I'm like, just keep pushing, buddy, keep pushing. I see him at mile 9, and he's, Dad, I don't feel good, and he vomits. He's like, Dad, I can't hold anything down. Like, you got to get water in your system. You got to get food in your system. He goes, Dad, I can't. My stomach hurts, and I don't feel good. And I'm like, buddy, you've trained really hard for this. For a year, you trained for this. And if I got to walk you across that line, I'm walking you across that line. And I'm like, you can do everything through God who strengthens you. You can do everything, and you've worked hard, and you got to focus and just be in the moment, be in this moment. So he started trotting at a slower pace, and he's coming around to mile 10, and I see him, and he's got a note in his hand. He's got a little note in his hand, and you see him trotting, and he's got this note, and he's reading it. And I say to myself, what the heck is this kid reading? To come to find out later, my son had written himself 4 notes of encouragement. He wrote notes to himself to encourage himself while he was going through the struggle, or the drudgery, if you will, of this event. And I was amazed at the brilliance of a 22-year-old kid to think about doing this ahead of time. And he had a little bag on his hip or a little pouch, and he just reached into and pulled out and started reading. And we just kept encouraging him. So we saw him at mile 10, we saw him at mile 13, and then we saw him at mile 19, and he wasn't looking good, and he wasn't doing well. So we looked at him at mile 19, and we said, Robbie, we'll see you at the finish line. And as a parent, you're worried about him, and you're like, is he gonna make it? He's trained so hard. He's got 7 more miles to go. Can he make it? So again, you just got to be in the moment, and you got to surrender. Like I surrendered to the idea that I wasn't supposed to have my phone. Surrender to the idea that he's doing what he's doing. He may not make it. He may make it. I don't know. But whatever's going to happen is going to happen. So we go to the finish line, and my wife's got the tracker on the phone. We're looking at the tracker, and we're watching his pace get slower and slower and slower. Like, he may not make this. So eventually, we're looking at the tracker. He's at 26 miles. He's at 26.1, and then next thing you know, you see him coming down the red carpet, and he's finishing up his 26.1 mile, and he's finishing up his triathlon. He's finishing up what he worked so hard to do, and he crosses the line, and now he's an Ironman. And we had to wait 5 minutes for him to come out around the side. He comes out, and I give him a hug, and I'm looking at him, and got tears in the eyes like I do now, and he vomits all over the place. Emergency physician saw it happen. He goes, "Bud, I think we need to take a walk." And he goes to the medical tent. He's in the medical tent for 2 hours, gets an IV, comes out and vomits again. And he was dehydrated, he was dizzy, wasn't feeling well. So finally he comes out, and we sat there for a little while, talked, and then we had to walk back to the shuttle to get to our cars to leave the event and get them back to the hotel. As we're walking back to the shuttle, it's dark now. It's 11 o'clock at night. And what I'll share with you is this, that there are people of all ages, of all sizes, of all races that have worked and trained hard to be in this moment, to push themselves to a limit maybe they didn't think they could do, pushing themselves to a limit maybe you don't think you could do. And I remember seeing this 70-year-old woman, and she was slowly trotting. She was a half a mile away from the finish line at 11 o'clock at night, and she was going to make it. And to experience that moment of watching my son push it to the end, watching other people going through the pain and the agony to get to the end, to accomplish a goal that they tried to accomplish, was an amazing experience. It was amazing to watch everybody encourage everybody. There's hundreds and hundreds of people at the final path as they jog in or run into to the finish line, and you're beating on the panel. Have you ever seen a hockey game when there's a fight? They take the sticks and they beat them on the panel, where people were beating on the side panels of the fence as all the finishers were coming in. And there's some people that didn't make it. There's some people that fainted. We met a guy that he actually passed out with 2 blocks to go. They took him to the medical center. They gave him fluids. They let him back out, and he finished the 2 blocks. So, again, as a dad and as a parent, seeing the spirit of your son, seeing the spirit of the other competitors, seeing the spirit of all the fans encouraging everybody in the presence of that moment was just an incredible moment. And when I think about what he went through and what I experienced in that moment, it moves me. And my encouragement is, if you're interested in the triathlon, more power to you. But you got to be in your moment of training, in the moment of doing what you're doing. But if you at least would visit one or attend one, you'll know what I'm talking about. And I thought about all this, and I'm thinking, maybe I need to be more present in my business. Maybe I need to be more present with my clients. Because of our phones, the text, the Facebook, the phone calls, we're full of distractions. And we're not present in the moment where we're supposed to be. And that takes away from the quality of the moment, takes away from the quality of the conversations that you're having with your family, with your friends, with your clients. And having that moment, having that experience, put me in a place where I feel a sense of peace. I'm a go-getter, man. I got my foot on the gas going 90 miles an hour, and I got the other, and I don't want to stop. But from the moment that phone broke, I believe there was a reason, and not only to be present in the canyon experience, not only to be present at the Ironman triathlon, but to be present everywhere in every moment in that moment. And the other thing I got out of it was learning how to experience joy at a deeper moment. And when we're working with our clients, it could be work to you, or it could be a way to be significant to others. Yes, we sell real estate. Some of us have a passion for the real estate. Some of us have a passion to make the money to do something else for others, or whatever our motives may be. But when you have that first-time home buyer and they close the deal, or you're in the moment, or you experience that joy for them. When you have an elderly person that hasn't moved in 45 years and they're selling their home and they're going into a retirement community, all the anxiety they're going through, are you present with them? So you're present with everybody that you're with, that you're dealing with, your clients, and are you experiencing the moment of joy with them? So I'll just close with, be aware of moments that you're in or could be in that you're expected to be present. And maybe you're being called to be present. Are you choosing to be present, or are you choosing to be distracted? And the more present we are in our everyday lives and in our business and our conversations with our clients and fellow work associates, the more present we are, the deeper the relationships we're going to build, the more peace we're going to find. And all I can say, I didn't expect this to happen. It just happened. And sometimes the greatest moments occur when you're not expecting to happen. So with that, I appreciate your time today. I'll be on next month. I'll share with you maybe a different perspective from something else, another experience, another mindset moment. And if you take anything away from today, just having a right mindset, having that awareness to be present in the moment and experience joy at another level. Thanks, everybody. Take care. Again, I'm Rob Commodari. I'm in the Perry Hall, Maryland area. Been with EXP, again, about 6 months now. And I'm happy to help you. If you want to reach out, if you got any questions about life, about business, feel free to give me a call. 410-262-7396, or you can reach out to me via email, rob@talktorob.com. Thank you very much. And as the words above my head say, life may be better than you think it is. Take care. Have a great day.